And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. Happy Monday. How we doing?
Doing all right. Foggy out there if you're driving, so be real careful. I think you and I come from opposite directions and both
heavy fog,
thick fog. So it seems like it's pretty blanketed around here. So if you're not noticing that already, if you're driving, you probably notice. But maybe if you're listening, but you're about to start driving, this is a PSA.
I mean, there was one point coming down this big hill that I always have to come down that it was about 6 feet in front of me was my visibility. It was like, that's about all I got, about 6 feet. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Don't use the high beams.
Yeah. That was, some people did not abide by that rule. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you, Nick Frazier, for filling in for me for a couple days.
Yes.
Had some stuff to take care of with the fam, but not a great football weekend. Bad weekend of picks. All the
for
teams,
me and you, not for this guy.
Yeah,
this guy bets against his teams and he kicks butt.
And then all the local teams lost. At least I'm beating Joe in fantasy.
Yeah,
but that's my saving grace this week.
Badly.
But yeah, doing good. Happy Monday, everybody.
Was as Ian mentioned, not a very good weekend on the local football front. You had Vanderbilt. I said last week, Joe, maybe this is my fault. Clark Lee's done a really good job they've been ready to play every time, ready to go right out of the gate. And that was not the case on Saturday against Texas. I mean, they were just absolutely blitzed by Texas in that game. Ended up making a game out of it, and they lose by 3, 34-31 to Texas over the weekend. Tennessee is basically eliminated from the college football playoff after a very disappointing performance against Oklahoma at home, and the Titans lost. And that's what the Titans do. But the Titans, at least, kind of exciting. There in the first half, you had a pick 6 from Cody Barton. You had a return for a touchdown from Chim Dike, who may be their best player out there. It's fun to see on that front, but a loss for the Vols, a loss for the Titans, a loss for Vanderbilt this weekend, Joe. Not good. Not good around here.
No, but the Titans covered. Titans never cover.
They did.
So give them that. Yeah, but it's one of those things where if you told us last week, you guys are going to be talking Monday about a 27-20 Titans loss, then it'd be like, okay, all right, well, they got to 20. Problem is they got to 20 with a pick 6 and a punt return. They scored 6 points with their offense.
Yes.
With their awesome, hey, guys, got an idea. Let's try this thing called the Wildcat. Let's give the Wildcat a try on some key moments.
What? Let's go Wildcat, and let's pick up 0 yards while doing it.
Yeah. So the offense continues to be buns, but, yeah, they were competitive. Like you said, Vanderbilt, I mean, the first play of the game, it's like, okay, that is, I mean, it was just awful. And just no tackling. I mean, no bad angles. The tackling, the defense in this game for Vanderbilt was really bad. Now, like you said, they fought back. But if you watch that game, it was really a lopsided game. And, yeah, it's just Tennessee, man. Maybe it's just as simple as at some point Joey Aguilar, I don't want to put it all on him, but at some point maybe some of the turnover stuff that we were all worried about coming the year was going to surface. And especially one of those picks where it's like, it doesn't look like he looked. And
no, he predetermined it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the safety's like, thank you. Too bad, because they actually had a chance to run them out of the building in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, they got up quickly in the game. It was 7-0, and they were driving again. And then there's the fumble where they pick it up and run all the way back for a touchdown. But even at one point in the second quarter, and even at halftime, they had more than doubled them up in the yardage. Like, if you would have told me heading into the game that Tennessee's defense was going to play as well as they did, I'd have been like, well, okay. I mean, you're probably going to win by a couple touchdowns if that's the case, but that did not play out that way. So we'll get specifically into the Vols a little bit later in the show, because there's a lot of noise out there in the aftermath of that one. So we will get into that a little bit later in the program. We will get into Vanderbilt a little bit later in the program as well. The margin for error for Vanderbilt is now gone. So Going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Still the college football playoff picture around them. A lot of football left to be played, a lot more left to be determined on that front, but disappointing result for Vanderbilt and Clark Lee over the weekend. And like I said, the Titans, 27-20. I mean, if you told me heading into the game the Titans would cover and they did pick up 6 sacks against the Chargers, I'd have said, really? Okay. I mean, the Chargers offensive line, number one, I mean, you had Joe Alt get cart off the field yesterday. He's already been dealing with injuries. You had Bobby Hart out there who got hurt in the game, and they're already going through it on the offensive line, and then he just got hurt again and again yesterday. And the Titans, to their credit, had some plays where they were able to take advantage of it. I mean, Jihad Ward had 2.5 sacks yesterday, so who knows? Maybe his trade deadline value is going up right here before the deadline over the next couple of days.
I must say, I mean, that guy is of the team, the players on this team who you would say who has exceeded expectations this year. You know, I think Chimdike has been. He's probably become the story, right? Like he's an exciting player.
Yeah.
I'm racking my brain.
Cedric Gray.
Okay. There you go. Cedric Gray, maybe Skoronski.
Yep.
You know, but
that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a long list. Ward is, you know, he's had some great moments. So you're right. But seriously, like Jay Ward.
Yep.
Key. I mean, I think any of these guys, Draymond Jones, I mean, any of them, I think could potentially be moved. And yeah, if you're another team looking around, it's like, that guy's got a little bit of juice to him.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a defense. And they were talking about this on the CBS broadcast yesterday. Every time they drop back into zone, it just kind of felt like they had no chance out there. LA was running some zone beaters. And again, you look out there and it's like Jalen Armour Davis is just kind of just running around all over the place out there. And it's like, well, that's not good. As Denard Wilson said last week, he's a guy who we have on the roster that I must coach out there on defense.
He plays.
So there's still, I mean, clearly some problems there. I mean, look, they had a 99-yard drive yesterday. So it's not like the defense was out there and just stonewalled them or anything. But 6 sacks on Justin Herbert was certainly a step in the positive direction that way. So,
well, like
the small wins.
Yeah, the pass rush, I guess, speaking of like exceeding expectations, I mean, overall, it has been better this year. There have been some games where it's been non-existent, but it has been better this year overall.
Yeah.
Than I would have guessed, you know?
Chargers' whole line is pretty beat up.
It's
right
pretty bad.
I wonder how much
question.
Alt goes down in the game, right?
Yeah, they're in trouble, and certainly that helps. But again, I mean, this crew, I wouldn't expect them to necessarily have success against patchwork offensive lines of the worst variety.
Yeah.
And so they've at least done a little bit of that. And they score a touchdown. I mean, that's like a tiny little bit of help from your offense.
Yeah.
Might actually give you a chance to win a game like this. But the Titans' offensive line was on brand in this game too.
It was. The man door was opened a couple of times in that game.
Wide open
in that one. And that was not good. And also, I mean, we'll get into the passing game. You know, Ward missed some throws that you just can't miss. I mean, there's one on 3rd down that Van Jefferson is just, I mean, you could have punted the ball to him. He's wide open in the middle of the field, and he just missed it. I don't know if the ball was slipping out of his hand or what happened there.
His feet were like.
Yeah, it's just brutal.
He was like trying to do the split. It's like he did a great job of eluding the defender and buying time, and then he doesn't set his feet for the throw, and it's like 8 yards short. Yeah. That's a great example of just, can you get to the point where it's automatic that you get your feet together and can, when he does, he can rip it. But yeah, that was one that could have been a huge play. He wasn't just wide open. He was wide open enough where he catches it and he can turn and, make, really do something on that play.
Well, even on the first drive of the game for the Titans, I think maybe the first play of the game, Ward escapes pressure from Khalil Mack, rolls out to his right, and throws one right in line for Io Manor, and he just drops it. It's like, man, I understand that drops are going to happen at some point along the way. Can we not drop the first one? Like, can you set a tone a little bit offensively before you start dropping passes out there? So, again, like, you look at the score, and it's like, well, they scored 20, and, sometimes they can't do that, but it had, nothing to do with the offense, including, by the way, a goal line stand by the Chargers defense where the Titans just could not punch it in Chargers territory there. So, you end up scoring 2 touchdowns Neither one of them come from the offense. And it's another day where you look at the offense there and it's like, well, Ward, his numbers are not very good. He missed some throws that you can't miss. They actually, when they weren't trying to screw around with Wildcat, got a little bit more out of Tony Pollard than they have. I mean, he averaged 5-6 a carry yesterday. But the problem is they just, Spears wasn't that good running the football yesterday. They just can never put anything all together. And that's how you end up 1-8, which is what they are.
Yeah. But Pollard, he did look better. And again, there's another guy potentially, I guess, who could be on the move. I just,
We'll see.
I don't know. I wonder what team out there is like, got to have that guy. He's not going to be anybody's starter. Like the Cardinals are in some duress at running back, but like, are they buying right now?
Probably not.
I mean, there's probably somebody I'm not thinking of, but it's possible.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, look, over the next 2 days, I'd be fielding a lot of calls if I'm Mike Borgonzi and the Tennessee Titans to see what all you could piece together. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show, too. How do we think the NFL trading deadline is going to set up? But the Titans fall 27-20 yesterday to the LA Chargers. We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's welcome in Chad in Hendersonville to the program. Chad, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
What did y'all think of J.J. McCarthy yesterday? Colin Cowherd he's brilliant at this. You could go and find two posts on him. One, J.J. McCarthy's going to be a bust. And then you go over to the other one and it says, oh, this guy's the next Baker Mayfield, which is always what I say, covering your bases. Maybe the weatherman can do some of that, right? It's going to rain tomorrow and then do another now that you got social media. It's probably not going to rain tomorrow. And then we just bump, copy, and paste, the one that we need. Your thoughts?
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. I mean, he was 14 to 25 for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, quarterback rating of 82.6.
I think he's going to be good. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be great, but again, he can run around. He made a huge throw at the end on third down, a fade to Naylor. That was a perfect pass that clinches the game. I thought he has looked bad, and he had that incredible fourth quarter against the Bears, right? And he's looked bad. He's going to look up and down. He's basically a rookie. But if I'm a Vikings fan, I'm optimistic. I think he's got a chance to be pretty good.
Yep, we'll see what happens on that front, but good to see them, finally put him back on the field. It's a long ankle injury.
That is true. The Wentz wagon finally broke down. Also, the Lions are not going to the playoffs. I just want you to know right now. They're not going to the playoffs.
We'll see. Titans lose 27-20 to the LA Chargers. So I guess the last couple of games, Joe, before this, obviously the final score didn't go well, but there were some moments in the game where you looked at Cam Ward and it felt like maybe some progress was being made out there. The numbers were a little bit better. He made some good decisions with the ball. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't like he had, great games or anything like that, but some progress being made. I did not really feel that way walking out of yesterday's game. He wasn't horrific or anything yesterday, but I just thought missed some throws that you can't miss, made some decisions that were questionable at times did not get a lot of help from his receivers. We talk about DK, made a great play in the return game. I guess the disappointing part of that yesterday from an offensive perspective was the carryover from one week to the next offensively wasn't really there. He had 7 for 93 against the Colts. And then yesterday he ends up with 1 catch for 5 yards on 3 targets. So they were not able to kind of continue that on the offensive side of things. But what's your takeaway specifically from Ward and the offense yesterday after it felt like maybe some progress there from Ward the previous 2 weeks? I just kind of felt like it was a lot of blah yesterday from the Titans offense.
Yeah, I mean, up and down again. The one we already talked about was the one that really stood out to me of a great example of this is what you got to – because sometimes you don't have time, and sometimes you're under duress, and so you just have to get rid of the ball. But he did a great job of buying himself time. And then, I mean, seriously, if you look slow that down and look at his feet are spread wide apart, pointed to either sideline.
Yeah.
It's a great example of man, that's a rare opportunity to just gather yourself and just make a nice, easy throw for a huge play. And yeah, like you said, it looked like maybe it slipped out too, but I still think the footwork is the biggest issue on that play where you don't even give yourself a chance to make a play. Yeah, he made some good throws. I agree that last week it felt like, okay, that's a step. Is this week a step back? I don't know. Or maybe it's just idling. But then, you get into, some of these drives also have a chance, you're doing the Wildcat thing with some of these drives. And look, you said it earlier, Mandor. I mean, there's some plays where it's just no chance at all.
Yeah.
Just absolutely terrible pass pro reps from your left tackle, which is so I start talking about other things around Cam Ward. There weren't that many things from him that I thought were problematic, but also it wasn't great. It didn't look great. I mean, it's just sort of blah is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and really that's with how depleted their defense is, and we'll find out if it's even more depleted over the next couple of days here. 27 points by the Chargers, not all that unexpected. Like they're going to struggle defensively the rest of the year to keep people off the scoreboard because they just don't have guys out there, right? Like they don't have, we're talking about at this point, all three of your starting corners from the beginning of the year are gone. You didn't have Jeffrey Simmons in the game again yesterday. That's a huge problem, obviously. They did a better job getting after the passer than I thought, even with the depleted Chargers offensive line. I was like, well, if you're the Chargers and there's a matchup that you feel good about with the offensive line, it'd probably be this one going up against the Titans. And the Titans, to their credit, stepped in there and did a pretty good job rushing Justin Herbert and making him uncomfortable yesterday. But even that, like Herbert got him a few times running, right? Which is something I know they're leaning in to him doing more this year. But 9 carries for 57 yards on the ground from the quarterback position yesterday. So as good of a job as they did rushing the passer, sometimes they didn't contain him and he just broke loose and took off there. So like defensively, I think at this point with the defense, we know what it is. They're going to struggle out there. They just don't have enough guys that are quality NFL players to hold teams off. They ended up holding them to 7 points in the second half there. So in some ways, it was about as good of a job from the defense as you could have expected yesterday. They're just not very talented. Offensively, like I said, you start the game off and like the first pass of the game is dropped by I.O. Manor. They just the Wildcat stuff. And I know at the end of the day, I think they ran a total of 3 Wildcat plays. So it's not like it was, some crazy part of their offense. But some of the timing of when they ran them, it's like, well, I don't know. You just turn around and hand the ball off to Tony Pollard 2 plays ago, and he ran for 8 yards. Do we really think we need to line up in the Wildcat and go that way? Just it feels like the offense cannot get out of their own way, and that's a huge problem.
Yeah, they don't have. It continues to be just disjointed. I saw. I think it was Easton Freeze tweeted like another game where like the play calling is worse like since they've got rid of Callahan. I'm like, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. The Wildcat stuff's bad. But I don't know that it's really gotten especially worse or better since they fired Callahan. I think it's just kind of a lot of the same, isn't it? Like we had the whole thing that after the first day, I was like, oh, this is clearly better with some listeners. And we didn't really buy that. And I don't think that it's necessarily clearly worse either. It's just there's limitations all over the place, and sometimes with the quarterback too, and then you do have some weird stuff for sure. Some of the lack of aggression that we've seen from McCoy, the Wildcat stuff yesterday when he gave a great explanation apparently on that too. Kaharski,
the defense stopped it. Good stuff, Mike.
I just
well done.
Saw some Kaharski was like,
here's a cliche McCoy. Here you go.
So he absolutely can't stand him. I think Mike McCoy might end up being his least favorite Titan coach of all time. He's the poor guy's going to be here for like 6 weeks.
And let me tell you, that's saying something.
I don't know. I guess I shouldn't.
It's very efficient work.
Yeah. Mike, what happened on the Wildcat play there? Oh, the defense stopped. All righty.
Thank you. But if you're Mike McCoy too, like Brian Callahan really, really missed his opportunity to go out blazing and just rip Kaharski.
I agree.
He's asking stupid questions about, the 2-minute offense. How come that doesn't always happen all game? And Callahan could have just trashed him on the way out, and he took the high road. I'd say Mike McCoy, just go out and either stop answering his questions or give him some crap. But it's just boring all the way around. The pressers, the offense, the team. But I promise you this. Let me make a guarantee to you guys right now.
Okay.
Tennessee Titans will not lose this week.
Yep. I think you're right.
Thank you.
I think you might be onto something there on that front.
Right.
May not win this week either.
Thank you. That's
okay.
right.
Can I take a small victory lap real quick? Because, we say enough stupid stuff on this show where sometimes we just got to sit there and celebrate the little wins. I think back to before the year, we had our predictions. What was the record I had for the Tennessee Titans at the bye week? It was 1-8.
Dang, did you really?
I did.
Good job.
Titans fans got really mad at me too.
Well, now we're expecting 4 wins post-bye, right?
Yes, I had them beating, I think, Cleveland, New Orleans, and I believe Jacksonville both times on principle because I couldn't stand the thought of them getting beat by, Liam Cohen and the teenager.
It's possible.
So we'll see how that goes.
They survived the Raiders yesterday. That is a 1-8. Yeah. That looks good. I don't know that you're going to look good at the end of the year, but you still look better than me, who picked 6 wins for the Titans this year. What'd you pick?
think I had 5.
I think Ian had 5.
Yeah. Of course, I'm the optimistic one with 6.
Yeah.
Not happening.
1-8 at the bye. That's
Good
where
job.
they are. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot of your thoughts to get to on the Titans front. We will do that next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Alex on the text line says, I'm sure you guys already discussed it. I know the coaching staff not intentionally trying to lose. I just can't come up with any other explanation for those short yardage play calls. Surely they can't be that incompetent. Yeah, the Wildcat was bad. Also, like, can they not run, effective quarterback sneaks? Like, are the Titans the one team that can't do that?
Yeah, I've seen some back and forth on that, and
Chargers had a few tush pushes.
Yeah,
and obviously, Justin Herbert's a big, strong dude, so there's a big difference in size between these two quarterbacks, right? I mean, I would guess that Herbert probably outweighs Cam by 30, 40 pounds without looking at it. I could be wrong, but Ward's not a big guy. So he's not necessarily your first pick for a QB sneak, but it doesn't mean you can't do a QB
put
sneak.
Gunnar Helm out there.
Yeah, you can always do that. Yeah, some of these teams do the tight end thing.
Yeah.
And again, you can also just Pollard is you can
Turn around, hand it to
powerful
him.
running. Yeah, you can give it to your running back and go get a yard. I don't know. Again, maybe it's
About 17-pound difference.
17. Okay. I mean, Herbert, Herbert is one of those guys in the league that I would think of first on a sneak, along with obviously Hurts and Allen and some of those guys.
Well, the big difference is Herbert is 6'6", and what's Cam? 6'1"?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Stretch that ball. There's a lot of things you can do differently. This is, like, it's not like teams never do direct snaps or never do Wildcat, but yeah, like one failed attempt of that seems okay. And then after that, it's kind of like, you gonna keep going to the well on this, really? So yeah, I don't think it's like a tank thing. I think they are trying to win, and
they're just not
they
equipped.
just can't. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, they just can't. Okay, so they're gonna find a way not to.
Yep. Lenny says, why does Cam not run? I know he ran twice yesterday, but he had other opportunities to do so. Like, I think from watching him this year, Joe, it's pretty clear that he does not want to run.
Yeah.
Which, like, in general, I don't have a huge problem with. Like, it's not like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Matt Stafford and pick a lot of guys around the league that are out there just looking to run all the time. I do think there are times where it's there for him and he passes it up. And it's not like he's incapable of running. He's not Michael Vick out there. So he's never going to be that. But I do think there are some times where he's got a lane where maybe he can go pick up 7 yards.
Yeah.
And instead he'll try to throw it 28 yards down the field in double coverage. And it's like, man, maybe on that play, just go pick up the 7 yards and live to fight another down at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I like a quarterback who, when they run into open space, the eyes are still downfield, and it's about because I think for the most part, you're going to be better off if you can do that as opposed to just tucking it head down, trying to run. There are definitely some times when he should choose run. He should choose run more often than he does. So I think it's a matter of just finding that. Again, he's never going to be a great runner. He's not fast. Like I said, I think he's pretty elusive. He does a good job of moving around the pocket and eluding people and buying more time. But I agree. I think that he could do it a little more often and just find that balance in the game for sure.
Yeah. And again, like the offense, it needs all the plays it can get. And they're just they're so big play deficient. And when you're as big play deficient as this offense is, then you got to basically be perfect driving down the field and not make colossal mistakes. And that's how they end up don't scoring any points every game, is because it's hard for this team as currently constructed to be perfect moving down the field. And again, I mean, that's probably the most disappointing thing on offense yesterday is it felt like against Indianapolis, they found something with DK in the passing game, and it just didn't really happen for him yesterday. 1 catch for 5 yards on 3 targets. Now, again, you watch him, and he's explosive as all get out in the return game, and I still think they've got something there, but I would have liked to have seen them go his way a little bit more in the passing game than they did yesterday.
Yeah, you feel good about him because of the big play he made, and so he continues DK is a player. But yeah, it's hard to understand how he has so few targets, and when he has demonstrated that he's this kind of a weapon. A little bit of a better day for Iron Manor.
Yeah.
But you'd like to see both of them get going, especially with Ridley out. Texture says Cam Ward is bigger than Jalen Hurts, but they allow him to do the tush push. I don't know if you've heard, but Jalen Hurts squats like 630 pounds. Like, I mean,
Jalen Hurts may be one of like the strongest players in the NFL.
yeah, Jalen Hurts is basically a fullback at quarterback, but yeah. So that's probably part of the reason there, I'm guessing.
Tell Cam to get in the weight room and start working on the squats.
Get in there, man.
Push.
Yeah, what can you squat? Yeah, measuring cheek size. The quarterback squat. I would feel confident saying that of the quarterback squat list, that Jalen Hurts would be number one.
I would agree.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's number two? Josh Allen?
Yeah, you figure it's probably someone shorter, right? I mean, squatting is easier if you're squattier.
Kyler Murray?
Yeah, that might be a good pick. Yeah, that might be a good pick. Kyler.
Does he go to the weight room or is he playing Call of Duty?
You can.
Is he benched this week tonight?
You can
I don't know.
You can do a leg workout while playing Call of Duty. Can't
That's true. Yeah.
I think
I'm not sure. Did he get benched for Brissett, or is he still hurt?
I don't.
I think he's hurt.
I got to be honest with you. Since the Titans went in there and just stole a win from the jaws of defeat, I've not kept up much with what the Arizona Cardinals have done.
Yeah. They're speaking of quarterback injuries, dislocated elbow for
Don't look.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
That just happened. Okay, I'm not looking. No. Brandon
Jay Daniels. Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for them. Boy, that's bad. Brandon says Ward is pudgy. I don't think he's pudgy. He's not pudgy, is he?
I mean, look, you're not going to find me sitting here on the radio talking about how the professional athletes are pudgy out there. Sorry,
except T'Vondre Sweat.
That's just not. And yeah, like, and even he's fun pudgy, right? Like he's a massive human being.
Right.
But no, I don't know that Cam Ward is pudgy.
Jared says, I don't think he can squat 150. He's skinny fat with a gut. He doesn't have a gut. Are we body shaming Cam? Have we gotten to the point of body shaming Cam Ward now? This is where we are in football season. The 1-8 Titans. Let's talk about the quarterback's body. He's got a strange mole on his ear.
It would be nice to the one thing I'm concerned about with his body right now is can he get his feet pointing in the direction of the football when he's throwing it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about with a body.
Yeah.
Can you get your feet, not you're doing the splits out there as you're trying to throw the ball?
Yeah, like the opposite of pigeon-toed while throwing.
It's amazing.
Work on that. I don't think he has a gut.
I mean, on that one miss to Jefferson yesterday, I was like, did somebody tip that? And I just didn't see it. And then you saw the replay, and it's like, no, there was no one around Cam Ward or Van Jefferson on that play, and he just totally missed. Ugh.
Yeah, no, that was classic. That was absolutely like, here you go. This is what you need to work on. Like, you can't have plays like that. Again, if you got guys bearing down on you, that happens, but you didn't. Maybe he thought he did. I don't know.
Some news in the NFL to pass along. The Miami Dolphins have traded edge rusher Jalen Phillips.
Oh, boy.
Take one guess to where. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, my gosh.
In exchange for a 2026 third-round pick.
Load them up, baby.
The Eagles have already traded for Jair Alexander and Michael Carter, and now they've added Jalen Phillips to the mix as well, and they play Green Bay on Monday Night Football a week from today. That'll be fun.
Other teams in this league, we'll see if it works out, but tip of the cap for me to the Eagles for understanding, where you are, and if you have deficiencies, give up some picks, man. Make yourself better.
Yeah. Jalen Phillips.
That's a pretty good pickup.
To the Philadelphia Eagles. Cam on the text line asking, realistically, which Titans could see themselves on a different roster by the end of the week? We're going to get into that coming up next. It is deadline day in the NFL tomorrow. Which Titans could be on the move? We will take your thoughts on that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
In various short yardage situations, you guys continue to go to the direct snap to the running back. It's not something you had done a lot before. Was there something that you saw? Why did you continue?
Well, that's all part of game planning. I think as the offensive staff, when you go look at a game plan, how you're going to attack a certain opponent, there's certain things you always put in. And so when the staff put the plan together, they had a lot of they thought this was the best thing to do. So
Did you read on any read on why they didn't work?
the defense stopped them.
Did you see anything schematic that surprised you?
No, it just, it comes down to execution. We got to execute better in all four, not just those plays, but plenty of other plays during the game. I think, our third down conversion rate was not great overall. So there's plenty of things. It's not just Wildcat that didn't work.
That's Mike McCoy yesterday after the game.
Those other guys designed the play, by the way. And we didn't execute. I like TD's question. It's kind of like, Mike, do you think it's still 2012 when the Wildcat was new?
Did you guys
remember when the Dolphins were running it and everybody thought it was awesome?
Did you guys acquire Ronnie Brown this week?
God. Someone's asking. Every week we get a question of, has an interim coach ever been fired during the rest of the season when he's supposed to be the interim coach? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think that'll happen, but it's a fair question.
Mike, we're moving on from you today. We're going to have Joe Rexrode be the coach for the rest of the year.
Nick Holtz, get in there, baby. Finally.
That's what they've been missing the whole time. Mike, why didn't that work? Defense stopped it. Good stuff. Good stuff there. So which Titans could be on the move as the NFL trade deadline approaches tomorrow? Well, you just saw a move in the NFL with Jalen Phillips going from Miami to the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what more is in store today and what that looks like. But, Joe, as you look at the roster right now, who are some names that jump out to you who we could see on the move this week for the Tennessee Titans? And is there anybody that you think is realistically available / easily moved that can get a significant return for the Tennessee Titans?
Well, there's a lot of guys who are possible. We've talked about all of them, but there are a couple we haven't talked a lot about. This weekend in particular, there's definitely some buzz around the Tavondre Sweat thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And then we haven't really talked about, I don't think we talked much last week about Chig, but that is interesting. And, with Chig, I could see another team seeing him and saying, put that guy in an offense where we actually are efficient and competent and we get the ball out to people who can catch the ball and, we can block for the quarterback, things like that. That guy might actually make some plays for us. I could see a team thinking that about Chig.
There was a significant tight end injury this weekend that could open up a spot.
That is true. So are you advocating for your Packers to trade for Chig?
I mean, they don't really have anybody else at the moment. They got Luke Musgrave who can't stay on his own 2 feet. So, yeah.
Wow.
Why not?
Okay. Well, we've just arranged a trade. What will so you're running your beloved Packers, who just lost to the Panthers, sorry, at home. And you are making this deal. What are you giving the Titans for Chig Okonkwo?
A 5th round pick.
A 5th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything the Titans can do to get something other than Jeff, which we assume is not going to happen? Yeah. By the way, are we going to start seeing him after the idle week play? Is that?
Don't know.
I mean, if he's not going to get traded, it'd be good to see him, playing again. Is there any way the Titans could get a 4th rounder or better from anything?
Because some people's response to that would be Ridley, and it's well, Ridley hadn't played. Ridley's been hurt.
Yeah. And
when he has played this year, the larger picture of it, he's been pretty bad. And some of that's him, some of that's probably not. But I don't think so. I don't think you're getting. I don't think anybody's giving you a 3rd or 4th round pick for Calvin Ridley right now.
Yeah. And then, what are you getting for Tavondre Sweat? I mean, he's young. You got the rookie deal in place. He has some talent, but I mean, I'm looking at the guy. Since this is the body shaming edition of Robby and Rexrode, I don't think he's kept himself in very good shape.
No.
I don't know if it's what. There were reports he was up in 360s his last year at Texas, which, by the way, made a ton of plays that year too. But yeah, I don't see a ton there. It looks like a bad pick. I mean, it looks like a bad pick in the second round, but also it's like, I guess I'm not going to trade him. A couple things. As far as I know, they're like, there's no issue. Like, we get the stuff with Bart Brownlee and all that. I don't think that's a thing. There was a lot of talk. Obviously, Sweat had in some trouble and stuff like that coming in. So as long as that's not a thing, and you're not going to get anything significant, I think I'd probably keep him. I mean, he's a guy. He's a rotational guy. He's not close to living up to a second round selection at this point.
No,
but he's also a young guy who, again, you need football players. You don't want to have to replace 40 football players next year, ideally. So I'd probably not move him unless someone really, really likes him.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're getting a big return for him, which I don't think is within the scope of reality. Would you not be better off just seeing how he plays the rest of the year and just challenging him as much as you can challenge a guy heading into next offseason to come back and be in good shape and be ready to go? Like, rather than just totally ripping it off and starting over there. Like that, again, it goes back to the conversation of let's say you're Borgonzi and you don't feel good about Sweat moving forward. Well, at some point you got to stop creating needs for yourself and maybe fix that 2 seasons from now, not next season,
Yeah, for sure. And look, Jeff Simmons this year, T'Vondre Sweat has to be able to look to his left or right and see 98 and be like, well, that guy dropped, 15 pounds or whatever, slimmed down, and look at what he's doing. And I understand they are different players, and there's a big difference between the two and all that. But like, still, there you go. Get yourself in better shape and make more plays. I mean, here and there he makes a play, but even just watch how teams are running the ball against them. He just hasn't really, to me, is not consistently excellent at anything at this point.
Well, he's certainly drafting him where they did. It's not come close to living up with that. I mean, you're talking about taking, a guy at his position, 38th overall. Like the production it's not close to being what you need from somebody in that spot.
So blame Rand. Don't blame Chad though, even though he was also part of it.
I mean, at some point though, if you're him too, it's like, maybe we don't need to trade all of the guys that I've been a part of here. Like, can we leave some of them? So maybe I got a little bit of a better look with the owner.
Yeah. Yeah, Barganzi's like, let's get all the Brinker people out of here.
Let's get them out.
Let's even get Brinker out of here.
Let's get them out. Yeah, beyond that, maybe somebody's interested in Pollard, maybe, but I think you're talking very minimal return on that front. And then beyond, I don't really know beyond, like
Key, somebody like that, but yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, how many fifths? How many sixths do you want?
6th and 7th are you getting? I mean, I'm not saying that you don't trade them because it's a 6th or a 7th, but I just don't know how much of the needle that you're moving, stockpiling 6th and 7th round draft picks.
Yeah, I would move anybody who I'm 100% convinced I have no interest in them next year and beyond. Go ahead. Load up on the 6. Sure. Load up on the 3rd day picks. Anybody who might be a part of the future of the team, though, I'm hesitating a little bit. And Chig is another one of those guys. Like, he hasn't been great, but actually, I think this year you've seen some decent stuff out of him. He has some talent. I don't think it's a bad thing to move forward. And then again, at some point you got to, I guess it would be this offseason when you make your second deal with him, right?
Yeah.
So if you're resolved that you don't have interest in that, I don't think it's going to be that expensive. But maybe, but still, maybe you're just not interested. Okay, then go ahead. But could you talk yourself into a second deal with him? I think you could.
Well, and again, the reasoning for that, it goes back to just how many needs do you want to create for yourself on that front? Fast Eddie on the YouTube chat says, do you see a path forward where the Titans don't regret not trading out of the Ward pick? I think we're still way too early to determine that. I mean, the path forward is Ward playing good football and being a franchise quarterback. How far away were you from that right now? It seems like we're far away from it, but that's what it comes down to. Like, everybody's going to talk about the Giants pick. we're not going to really know for probably a couple years,
Right.
as to whether or not that was the wrong move.
Exactly. Stephen from the Borough says, in my opinion, the Titans got sold fool's gold. They overdrafted a QB who's insistent on being a pure pocket passer, but simply isn't good enough at this level. If he can't run, he's got nothing left. Yeah, I mean, no one thought Cam Ward was coming in here. He was a time buyer in college who ran every once in a while. That he is a pocket passer. He just got to be better. If he's a good pocket passer, then
That's fine.
great.
Yeah.
I agree that sometimes he needs to go ahead and take the 6 yards running the ball and things like that. But like, if you thought that they were getting a runner, then you didn't watch him playing college football.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Tennessee basically eliminated from the college football playoff discussion after a loss to Oklahoma over the weekend. We will get into that game and what does it mean for Josh Heupel and the Tennessee program. That coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. It is Monday, and Mondays were made for Macero. Big screens, bold flavors, and all the football action from queso to kickoffs. This is how Macero does game night. Macero Football Mondays in 12 South. Don't miss a snap. We'll have Cory Curtis from News 2 with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get into the Titans, their loss to the Chargers. They're dropping to 1-8 on the season with him.
As you
a little bit
predicted.
later in the show. Yes, it was predicted beforehand. I did have them beating the Colts earlier in the year, which is objectively hilarious to think about now.
I'm glad you brought up the Colts. I hope Indy Ben's okay with Daniel Jones. 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. I'm not saying that
Didn't go well.
I'm not saying it's pumpkin time and whatever, but
By the way, against the defense, it's pretty bad. Like Pittsburgh's defense has been bad.
Colts fans.
Just throwing it out there. They weren't bad yesterday.
Yeah, that's a little bit concerning.
It is. Tennessee effectively eliminated from college football playoff consideration with a loss to Oklahoma over the weekend. They fall to the Sooners at home at Neyland Stadium, which means, I mean, the 3 biggest games that they've played to this point this year, Joe, have been Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma, and they have lost all of them. So you look at the quality wins for Tennessee, they don't really have any. Like Syracuse is not that good. Mississippi State's, Arkansas is not very good. So it just the schedule now at this point, we've talked about the possibility maybe, depending on how things shake out, of a 3-loss team getting into the college football playoff. That 3-loss team's not going to be Tennessee. Like they just don't have enough quality wins.
Yeah, someone on the YouTube chat's like mathematically they might still be in, but no, they're really not because, like you just said, the 3-loss team that could happen would be, for example, Oklahoma. When you look at their schedule, is just absurd this year. So I wouldn't predict it, but like if you look at what's ahead, what they got Georgia, like if they split these 2 huge games that they have ahead, is it Georgia and Bama? Is that
No,
right?
they got Oklahoma, or they got Alabama, I think this week coming up, and then it's Missouri and LSU.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I thought they had Bama and Georgia ahead. So they're probably, I mean, like if they were to beat Alabama, lose to Missouri, could they be a 9-3? Again, what kind of chaos are we talking about here? Look, Vanderbilt at 10-2 may not get in too. That's the flip side of this. Like there could be a huge glut of 10-2 teams. So, but I would say that right now, Tennessee making the playoff is like way less than 1%.
It's not happening.
Yeah. They're out. And it's very disappointing because, like you said, you look at those 3 games. First of all, I mean, Joey Aguilar sets them up to win the Georgia game, and they miss the kick. And then he throws picks that are key in the 2 other losses.
Yep.
Just not quite good enough. I mean, it's like you go back to the beginning of the year, you go back to Nico leaving, all that stuff. What do we talk about? Yeah, 8-4,
Yep.
That's probably about what this is, an 8-4 team. And they can still be a 9-3 team, but it's still disappointing because Georgia was there. And I think this game was there too. I mean, this game was there. If you just finish drives and don't give them the ball in the first half, you're kicking their butt.
I mean, yeah, they totally dominated the first half, except for when they handed the ball to the other team, right? I mean, that's the only reason Oklahoma was really in the game at halftime. I do think the game flipped at halftime. Like, I think Oklahoma was better than they were in the second half. And Oklahoma got some things figured out on offense, and John Mateer in the running game became a big part of what they were able to do in the second half of that game. Tennessee really just couldn't get anything going on offense in the second half. They had the big play in the third quarter made by Staley. But other than that, I mean, it was, Tennessee's defense forces a big turnover of the fumble, and Tennessee's offense does what it's done too often this year, which is immediately after a turnover, you go 3 and out. Like when your defense forces a turnover, you got to go do something with it if you're Tennessee. And they've been really bad at that all year, of doing something after Tennessee's defense forces a turnover. So another situation of that, like I think it was 2 different games. I think Tennessee came out and played basically the way they wanted to in the first half. They were moving the ball down the field. The yardage advantage they had was really high. And yet you had basically Joey Aguilar lollipopping 2 footballs up, and then a fumble on the third one that was brought back for a touchdown, and that's how you end up trailing at halftime in a game that you've dominated to that point. And then Oklahoma figured some things out and played better in the second half. So I just thought it was just bad football from Tennessee in the second half. Good football from Tennessee, save for about 4 plays in the first half. Otherwise, I mean, you could have been up. I mean, no lie, they could have been up, I don't know, 17 points at halftime had they just not handed the ball to the other team.
Right.
And that's the thing on those turnovers.
And they're not overcoming that. Oklahoma's not coming back from that.
No, and that's the thing on those turnovers too. Like, it wasn't even really that Oklahoma, particularly on the interceptions, made great plays on them. It was just horrific decisions from Aguilar. Like, you're throwing the ball into double coverage, or you're predetermining where you're going with the football, and it was basically a pop fly for their safety back there.
Yeah, it was bad turnover. And obviously you had the blocking screw up on the fumble, and of course the fact that turns into a scoop and score. There's some bad luck in there, some bad decisions. And then the second half. The thing is, in the second half they still had their chances too. They did. But Oklahoma made enough plays, and it's very disappointing for sure. And of course, there's a little bit of. It's like you think back a year ago, it was such a big thing. Heupel facing the program, or he won a championship as a quarterback, the program that fired him, scapegoated him as OC, and he goes in there, triumphant homecoming, wins that game, even though that game was ugly as all get out, but great defensive performance and all that stuff. And then a year later, they come in to his place and knock him out of the playoff. I mean, that's for him, that's got to be especially bitter for this to be the way it goes.
So what does it mean for Tennessee in the program? Like you said, I mean, before the season, and this is why this conversation that's going on right now is interesting to me. Like, before the season, most people had Tennessee going like 8-4 or 7-5, right? And we'll see what ends up. I mean, 7-5, I guess, is still possible with Tennessee. You could lose to Florida and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens on that front. They could also win against Florida and Vanderbilt. It's not like they're going to be, overwhelmed athletically against either one of those teams. So we'll see what happens on that front. But you're not making the college football playoff. The defense, despite playing pretty well for the most part in this game, has been a point of contention all year. What does it mean for Heupel? Does he make any changes after the year? If he doesn't, what's the response going to be from Tennessee fans? I mean, I can tell you, if he doesn't make any changes, Tennessee fans are going to be mad. They want Tim Banks fired. I think they want Joey Halzle fired. We'll see what happens on all that front. If I had to guess, my guess would be there's probably not going to be any changes. That's just my guess. We'll see what happens on that front. But what do you make of the Heupel program in general conversation now that the playoff probably is not happening?
Yeah, I think it's fair as long as you keep it within perspective, which some Vols fans aren't, of course. But yeah, I do every Monday, Message Board Monday at The Athletic. And this week I spent some serious time yesterday on those message boards, VolQuest and 24/7. And yeah, the thing is about the message boards even is like, again, like 90% of the people are rational. And like, it's just that you have some people who are like, he must be fired, he must be gone. So like Message Board Geniuses gets the Vols who are like, get him out of there. And most Vols fans don't think that. There's like a poll on one of those boards, and it's overwhelmingly he's pretty good or he's good, and then there's a tiny little fraction of people like want him fired.
Yeah.
But it's not a tiny fraction of people who, like you said, want some kind of moves. And this is, I think, one of the things about Heupel that we're going to find out. At times you do have to make moves. At times that's not the issue, and the outside world thinks it's the issue, and maybe it's something else. I don't know for sure. I can't sit here and tell you Tim Banks stinks as a DC because we've seen some years where I thought he was pretty good, but this year's bad. So should Tim Banks be fired? I mean, I don't know. Do I think Joey Halzle should be fired? I'm not saying that either. I do absolutely think that like losing Golish was a loss.
Yeah,
but it's been a while now too, right? I mean, this has been a way better year for the offense, has it not?
Yes, it has. They have not been as good, even though the numbers would say they're still good at running the football. They're not what they've been running the football.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't run the ball at all on Saturday against Oklahoma. And I wonder why that is. Is that an offensive line thing? Is it because the three backs you have are like okay, but they're
They're
not
not
Dylan
Dylan
Sampson?
Sampson.
Like, what's the reasoning for that? That to me has been probably the most disappointing thing this year. Is like in big moments, they ran it okay against Alabama because Alabama was hell bent on not letting them hit the deep shot down the field, but they've just not been able to run the ball very consistently this year.
Yeah. You still like the overall production, the overall numbers. It looks more like it looked, when it was really rolling.
Yep.
But yeah, that's true. Like you want to be able to, run the ball when you need to run the ball. There's the offensive line.
Yep.
I mean, people talk about the offensive line coach, defensive backs coach. Look, they've also had bad luck this year. I mean, look, I think that at some point with Heupel, and we've talked about this before, but do you get to the point where it's like, you know what? This guy did an incredible job. Like, you can't talk about how bad it was before he got there forever.
No, and we're moving out of that.
Yeah, like, I think you still, like, that's still perspective that's important. But you can't talk about it forever. At some point, do you get to the point where it's like, okay, great job, fantastic, and now who takes this to where you can win a national championship?
Right.
I'm not saying he can't, but I think that we're not too far from that being a fair discussion. And time management is a problem.
Yeah.
Some operational stuff is a problem. Some of the ways these games they go on the road and they really just kind of crumble.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that are
they got to
consistent.
get figured out. There's no doubt. Like the perspective stuff on what he took over, I think it's time to move out of that conversation because this is 5 years. Like you've now established yourself as and look, Heupel's done a good job. I think the conversation of like the small segment of Tennessee fans that want him fired now, I think it's frankly stupid. Like I just think it's dumb.
Of course he's not going to get fired.
If you're another 2 years down the road and you're not making the playoff, well, then it's different, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think we're in a different discussion at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the playoff, we had the 12-team playoff. They made it last year as far from a perfect team. It's probably going to go up. That becomes definitely for a program like Tennessee, to me, more times than not, you should make it.
Yeah.
Which is not easy. I mean, this league is loaded with competitive programs, but I think that's a fair standard.
Let's welcome in Adam in Portland to the show. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
I don't know, man. I guess I'm just looking at it different. Like, Joe, I remember you specifically in the preseason saying, I think Merklinger is going to win the job. Like,
that was a good
nobody
call.
believed in Joey Aguilar, man. He's supposed to be some erratic quarterback who couldn't complete a ball 30 yards down the field and just always throwing into traffic. He's been fantastic, man. He's been a really good quarterback. Our 5-star quarterback win us in the spring, like in the most unprecedented way. So I'm proud of the program. They got their butts handed to them by Oklahoma and Alabama. They do not deserve to be in the playoffs. I still think their kicker screwed them in Georgia. I really would have loved to have seen them at least have a chance at the end to be competitive. But if you can't hang with Alabama and Oklahoma, you don't deserve to be there, dude. So I don't know. I'm looking at it different. I think the Titans have me so warped that I can't look at them as a bad team. I'm like, they did great, dude. Like, what a good season. I understand the defense wasn't perfect, but you also lost a lot of big pieces there too, including your best pass rusher. So I don't know. I'm proud of this Tennessee team. I did not expect anything from them this year, and I love that quarterback.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. A couple more things on the Heupel front I want to get to coming up next, including a lot of belly aching over one particular decision they made on Saturday. And one thing I said before the season that I think is coming to fruition now that just amazes me with some people. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
He's got his short shorts on. I guess that's no longer frowned upon in the sport.
Yeah, I guess not. It is with me, but
those are the shortest I've ever seen on a football field.
Should be, right? Bill, that should be a penalty. Just dressing like that should be a penalty. What the hell is it? Wearing shorts out there?
It's another 50 plus. This is from 51 to give Oklahoma the lead. Fendell, short shorts, but not short on distance. Powers it through again from 51, and Oklahoma is on top on Rocky Top. Venables smiling for good reason. His team's been outplayed with 2 takeaways, not done much on offense, but they got a kicker.
Yeah, got his Daisy Dukes on and pushed it up the middle again. 51.
Short shorts for the Oklahoma kicker the other night.
What'd you tweet? Vols are losing to a kicker with a thong.
Yeah.
The thong song.
Good stuff out there. And then he just drills it. He had 2 55-yarders in the game.
Sure.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Get rid of those pants, and all of a sudden, look what you can do.
I guess so. A couple things on the Heupel front. Number one, and I'm going to pick on Abel here because he's the most recent one that does it, but we've heard it from about 4 or 5 people today, and I heard it from people all over the place on Twitter in the immediate aftermath of it. And I'm just – there are plenty of things with Tennessee, with Heupel, with play calling to pick apart in this game specifically and throughout the season. I'm having a tough time understanding why they're getting so much heat for the play call on 4th and 1 that, by the way, got somebody about as open as they can be on the play. The ball hit the kid in the face mask, and that's the coach's fault. Like, if we can't expect the SEC scholarship athlete, who, by the way, I think is like a 4-star recruit, to catch the football, then you probably need to take scholarship away. Like, if you can't expect him to catch the ball, you probably need to throw it somewhere else. And my response, well, throw it to Braylon Staley. It's like, well, it's not the set they ran. They made it look like they were going to run, and then they threw it to the tight end. We'll throw it to Kitzelman. Well, Kitzelman drops the ball more than anybody on the team. He's dropped the ball all year long. So, like, I'm having a tough time really understanding why, out of all the things we could be mad about, if you're a Tennessee fan, the play that got somebody wide open by 8 yards is the play that we're choosing here.
Yeah, I think the only thing about it that I'll listen to a little is just it's a guy who just hasn't been in those situations yet. It's such a huge situation, but that also could be part of how he got so wide open, right? I mean,
there's no one in the same zip code.
Yeah.
No, that's the play caller's fault.
Right. The play worked. He was wide open. The execution was bad. And, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know that I blame the kid. The ball kind of hit him in the – he
got hung up at the line.
Yeah, he got hung up. He needed to turn a little faster or whatever. The quarterback needs to see it. It was all mucked up, but generally I'm with you.
Yeah, there's no one within 8 yards of it.
Yeah, there are other things more worth complaining about.
The other thing on the Heupel front, and I understand you react to information that you see at the time and all those things. I will say, some of the same people in April when Nico left and bolted that were all Heupel taking a stand. He's our guy. One of the things I said then was, all right, how are you going to feel when you go 8-4 this year? Oh, no, that's fine. He's taking a stand. He's our guy. And predictably, some of those same people who are all team Heupel when he took the stand and moved on from Nico and all those things, now that they may have the audacity to go 9-3 in a year like this, or some of the same people that want to fire him at this point, which is very predictable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course. That's the thing. You go through it, and then you get the emotion. You have a big game, and you like this is a huge. Like we talked, it's a playoff elimination game, and then all the things that happen that go wrong. I mean, most of it, frankly, not on coaching, I would say, but still, a lot of things go wrong. It's an emotional loss, so now you're pissed off. Yeah, we talked about it at the time. It's like, okay, let's. Are you going to keep that energy?
Yeah.
And remember, they did try to go get other quarterbacks. There were times this year when I watched Joey Aguilar play, and I'm like, I don't know if they could have gotten a better guy for this offense. He throws a great deep ball. He's had a heck of a year, but still led the FBS in interceptions last year. And you did see that a little bit in this last game. I mean, there's just and even Heupel doesn't throw players on the bus, but even like his post game was like, didn't see the rotation out there through the. I mean, it's just like it is what like the guy just made a couple terrible decisions out there as a quarterback, and so it ends up being that is really costly to you in a game like this. But yeah, people should remember that what they said at the time. You got put in a bad spot, like it or not, and then went out and struck out on at least 3 or 4 guys. Yeah. So yes. I agree with you. Also, it's not surprising at all.
No, and again, the big picture program part of this, if they go through next year and they don't make the playoff, then we're probably at that point going to be having legitimate conversations about Heupel, right? Like it's like, I don't know if he gets fired if he misses the playoff next year, but there's going to be legitimate hot seat talk. There's no doubt about it. I still think you look at the whole picture of this, and Adam Sparks did a pretty good job on this at Knoxville News Sentinel. The guy's done a pretty darn good job. And I know that you want coaches that win national championships. We'll see if he ultimately gets there. And if it becomes clear in a year or two that he's just not going to be, he's good, but he's never going to take you to great, then you probably have to make a move at that point if you're Tennessee. I don't think we're really close to that at the moment.
No, I don't either. It is in this environment. You look at, Hugh Freeze is out. Brian Kelly's.
Even Maryland's changing their coach. It's like in a year where
I think that was fake.
Was it?
Yeah, I think that was a fake account.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Maryland's not changing their coach. Good for them. Because I was going to say, in a year where everybody's changed your coach, if you're some of these other programs that aren't, or they're trying to make a decision, I probably wouldn't do it this year. There's a limited amount of great coaches that are out there, and the list is pretty deep right now of jobs available.
Right, and so maybe next year, it's a totally different situation. But then whenever you do that, it's like, okay, so you're doing that to upgrade. So what's the clear upgrade from Josh Heupel? For Tennessee. I mean, he's done a really good job. There are fair criticisms. It is really going to be interesting with the
staff.
Yeah, with the staff. Yeah. Again, because it's not always the right answer to fire people, but I also do think some coaches, there's a loyalty thing. And look, let's face it. Josh Heupel played for his coached under his college coach with all his buddies who he grew up with and did all these great things, and then he got scapegoated and sent out of there.
Yeah.
That is probably a guy who is more hesitant than some other coaches to do the same thing to somebody else.
I would agree. Let's head back to the phone line. Welcome in David in Portland to the program. David, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Morning, gentlemen. So on the 4th and 1, I kind of side with Joe. That's kind of how I felt at the moment when I watched it. I'm like, is there really, freshman tight end, in that situation? I probably would have chosen a different player, but nonetheless, I want to talk about the quarterback situation. So after this season and Aguilar is gone, and Faison Brandon comes in, you're going to have a true freshman and a redshirt freshman, George McIntyre, because Mark Linger is probably going to transfer. Do they go get another quarterback out of the portal like they did with Aguilar, or do they just run it with Faison Brandon and just see what he's got like Michigan is doing with Bryce Underwood? And I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thanks for calling. It's a great question. I mean, if I had to guess, Joe, they're probably going to go get a quarterback that's a veteran guy that they feel good about maybe being a backup.
Who is okay being a backup.
Yes.
So that's what it's got to be. You can't go try to get a starter with those two guys.
I think it's going to be Faison Brandon and George McIntyre as quarterback competition next year.
Let me amend that. You can't go try to get a starter unless you think you have someone who's tremendous.
Yeah.
And then that's what it is. Like if again, Indiana goes on Fernando Mendoza. Oh my gosh, he might win the Heisman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have someone like that who's a veteran, fine, but I don't think so. I think you're right. I think it's just depth.
And again, back on the 4th and 1 call, like if the guy just makes the catch, you know what we'd be talking about today? Man, what a great play call. What a great play call it was.
Yeah, you got him wide open, and unfortunately,
it's not too much to expect an SEC scholarship player to catch football that hits him in the face mask.
Right. Real quick, Andrew. Shouting out Taylor Wine from Nolensville. Heck yeah. It was cool that they showed his dad because Friday is for nights,
Yeah.
I mean, that kid is he was a fantastic player for us, and boy, he is becoming one hell of a college football player.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Switching gears to Vanderbilt coming up next. A devastating loss to Texas, particularly with how the game started. What does it mean for Vanderbilt and their chances for the college football playoff? We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. 94.9 The Fan, your home for Vanderbilt women's basketball. Today, the Commodores take on California at 1:30. Pregame starting at 1:15. And Vanderbilt men's basketball taking on Lipscomb tonight at Memorial Gym with a 7 o'clock tip-off and the pregame show starting at 6:30 as well. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025, our phone number. Speaking of Vanderbilt, they fall to Texas over the weekend, 34-31, the final. It was a game, Joe, that looked like it was going to get out of hand to start with. Texas just totally dominant for about the first 3 quarters of the game. They come out, they get a 75-yard touchdown immediately on the first play from scrimmage. Vanderbilt turns the ball over on their first drive. And before you know it, I mean, Texas is up by double digits in the game. Arch Manning's looking good out there playing good football. Vanderbilt battles back later in the game, ends up cutting it to a 3-point game there at the end, but they lose on the road at Texas. They get that second loss, and now you've got Auburn, who just fired their coach, Kentucky, who beat Auburn, and then Tennessee to close out the year here. So what did you make of Vanderbilt's performance at Texas, number one? And number two, what do you make of the situation they're now in with 2 losses to rebound from it and still make the college football playoff?
Well, it was a bad defensive performance. I mean, right from the first play, and just the tackling on the perimeter for Vanderbilt was really bad. Watching this game, it's like there were a stretch of that game. You're like, yeah, so there's a team with 4 and 5 stars all over its roster against a team that doesn't have that, and you see a little bit of the difference. In Texas, like Arch had great numbers. I don't know that Arch. He made a couple downfield. He made a couple throws in the red zone that were good. But, like, most of his throws were, like, screens that turned into – I mean, really, it was quick stuff at yards after catch. I'd love to – I haven't seen the numbers on, like, yards after catch in that game for Texas, but my gosh, they have to be absurd, and the missed tackles are really bad. It's 24-3. Vanderbilt gets a good drive, and their offense – yeah, you had the turnover early, but their offense was doing fine. It's 24-10. You get the ball coming out in the second half. So, to me, it's like if they go score a touchdown here, now you make it close. Pavia puts 2 perfect throws on guys who drop them. Then he gets sacked. So then it gets out of hand late. He's thrown it all over the yard. Texas has a coverage bust, and it looks a lot better. I still come away with, like, Vanderbilt's offense. I don't feel much different about it. When you get behind in a hole like that on the road, sometimes like, it's hard. It's just they can just tee off on you. Their offense is fine. The defense, it was rough. And, a week earlier, their defense really stepped up against Missouri, but they still have some issues and some holes there on defense against good teams. Crazy when you think about the next 2 games, Robbie. It's like Kentucky a week earlier gave up 56 to Tennessee on its home field, and then goes to Auburn and gives up 3.
Yeah,
which finally gets Hugh Freeze fired. But I think Vanderbilt, I think they should win the next 2 games. Now, you never know what's going to happen with a football team when their coach gets fired. Maybe there's some kind of bump for Auburn. But Vanderbilt has a chance here. They have Auburn. They get a week to rest up. They get Kentucky. I think they should win them both. And if they do, they're going to be 9-2, and they're going to be going to Knoxville playing for a playoff spot. And I'll tell you right now, without knowing the state of Tennessee, what their mindset's going to be or whatever at that point, I just don't like Vanderbilt's defense in that matchup at all. It's been a bad matchup for them, and you watch them against Texas, and it's different. But you project ahead to what Tennessee does, man. I don't like their chances. But boy, I hope that we as a state get a game with stakes like that. Obviously, we were hoping they were both going to be playing for high stakes, but at this point, Tennessee is playing the spoiler to Vanderbilt.
By the way, I'll see if I can find, like, the full number for the game. But I am, like, the Vanderbilt Hustler put this out there. Manning had 200 yards passing in the first half, 185 were yards after the catch.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, seriously, it was just like, and he did fine. He executed fine. I'm not trying to rip Arch. Arch has been ripped enough. I think he's growing
some things out.
Yeah, he looks fine. But yeah, a lot of it was just like, we don't think these guys can tackle our receivers and running backs, and they couldn't. And that's, that's a very disappointing defensive outcome for Vanderbilt for sure in this game. They gotta go back to the drawing board a little bit.
Oh, and again, like the Auburn game, I'll be honest, has become a little bit more interesting to me now, just because, to your point, I have no idea like what's gonna. Like, it's not like they're devoid of talent.
No.
Like, Auburn's got some players. So now that they've fired Freeze, do they get that coaching bump? What does that look like? Like, I think Vanderbilt. I know Kentucky has shown at different times this year that they can play some decent defense. I think that's a game where Vanderbilt's defense should feel pretty good about themselves heading into that game. And I think Vanderbilt will score enough on offense where they'll take care of Kentucky. Auburn game's a little bit interesting to me. And then, Tennessee from here, they've got the bye week this week. You've got New Mexico State, and then you got Florida on the road. Well, what happens in that Florida game on the road? Regardless of what happens, I know you're going to try to play spoiler against Vanderbilt at the end of the year, but I'm interested to see like what sort of approach Tennessee's going to have in that last game, because I'm with you. Like, I think Tennessee's offense could put up a number against Vanderbilt. Thing is, though, I know Tennessee's defense just played a lot better. I think Vanderbilt's offense could put up a number against Tennessee too. I mean, that'd be a game where both teams get into the high 30s, low 40s.
Yeah. I just think for Tennessee, whatever happens between now and then, I mean, don't they hate Pavia? Aren't they sick of Pavia said they're going to run this state? Like, don't they absolutely hate the idea of Vanderbilt getting the playoff while they don't? You would think that stuff like that would motivate on its own.
You would think,
right? So it's hard for me to buy that on their home field that they're not going to be very motivated to win that game. But I agree that I agree that Vanderbilt's offense certainly could have success against Tennessee's defense. So asking why you're reading the Hustler. That's the student paper at Vanderbilt, which is an interesting choice.
It is.
I assume that the Vanderbilt student paper was named The Hustler before the magazine called The Hustler came out. I'm just going to assume that.
By the way,
maybe even decades before.
That's a massive win for Texas against Vanderbilt to kind of keep themselves alive here. They still have Georgia on the road and A&M to close out the year.
Yeah.
So we'll see on the Texas front.
Well, and that's the thing too. Texas is another team. We talked about Oklahoma. I mean, what if they split those?
Be 9-3.
They're 9-3.
Yeah. They could have a shot.
I mean, the thing is, like, go back to the opener. We all think Ohio State's this amazing team. Right? They lost 14-7 on the road at Ohio State. I'm just saying they challenged themselves with that game on top of the ridiculous SEC schedule they have. So, that they would be another one of those possible test case situations. But I mean, there's so much going. Miami completely just.
ACC is getting one team.
Yep,
one team is coming from the ACC.
And we'll see with the Big 12. The big game is BYU Texas Tech this week. They both might get in, but the ACC has been relegated to one big league. Yes.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Oh, come on down here and work for us. I'll tell you what to do.
Pitch and kid.
I say.
Now what? I say, what's the big idea of bashing me on the noggin with a rolling pin?
Oh, hey, D, will now be behind the head football coach down here.
The Cajun kicker?
My God, we'll get you set up with some crawfish etouffee.
You ever had any crawfish etouffee so good your toes curl?
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Another masterful performance from Ian Safar.
You know, I think that I had my little outburst of terrible Cajun accent outbursts.
Well said.
When you were not here, right? I was hoping that you would not have heard this and know that they existed, but I was wrong.
I found them, and Frazier helped me.
Yeah. Thank goodness. I couldn't even say etouffee. Okay.
I say.
All right. So, as first of all, thanks to Paul Kaharski, who's texting me immediately. Vanderbilt Hustler, 1888. Hustler Magazine, 1974. I said,
Have some of that.
I said, you know way too much about this, you weirdo.
Good job, PK.
And also the Columbia Spectator, 1877. Thank you very much.
Good to know.
So there you go. The Vanderbilt Hustler
Long-standing journalism.
has full claim to that name. Sorry, Larry Flint. Two things I just want to hit real fast, and we can go into whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
I don't have a really angry rant. I mean, I could rant about YouTube TV and this crap, and I mean, like if they don't get it figured out this week, like it's a real problem.
That happened during college football, huh? No, YouTube
Big
TV, ESPN.
What's that?
No dice this weekend, huh?
Yeah, big issue.
No, it's a big problem.
Surprised they didn't get that. Usually they kind of tease it.
I know, and then
last second they figure it out before the games start.
Yep.
Kind of surprising that
So
didn't
they
happen.
didn't. So ESPN is trying to get people to subscribe to their app, which I'm not doing. And YouTube TV, this was not supposed to be the rant, but now I'm going down that road. Well, I have Sunday Ticket, and so for people who have that, you're screwed. I mean, you already paid for it, and so I'm going to switch from YouTube TV probably, even though the quad box, like the 4-screen thing, is actually really helpful. But at this point I can't, so it's really a problem. But two things I just want to say real fast. One, happy opening day. College basketball starts today, everybody. Let's get excited.
Thank God.
Big time. Hey, Arizona, Florida tonight is the big one. That's on TNT. So
let me know
that's
how it goes.
great. I will. And I can watch it because it's not on ESPN. I mean, that's the thing. The ESPN thing is really going to be a problem as we move into college hoops. And
They'll
also,
get it figured out quick.
I hope so. I mean, they better get it figured out this freaking week. And also, I want to give a nod to baseball. We don't talk baseball much on this show unless it's me crying about or screaming about or getting excited about the Detroit Tigers. I mean, you call baseball players soft. So, as an entire group.
Some of them are.
But this World Series was incredible.
Not many other sports where you get hurt playing video games.
This World Series was incredible. Like one of the greatest World Series of all time. I think it's right up there with, it's probably right up there with, anybody remembers 91 Braves Twins. That was also absurd. And Jack Morris going into the 10th inning Game 7. But this was amazing. It really was. And baseball still, for my money, great pitcher, great hitter, postseason, huge moment. I think it's hard for other sports to match that kind of drama. So I know baseball's going through it in a lot of ways, and it's lost some steam with a lot of people, but incredible World Series. And I got to say, congrats, Jimmy White. I really, I have no interest in, Dodgers fans being any more spoiled than they are.
Yeah.
I will also say, the Dodgers are actually a likable team. And, of course, there's Mookie Betts, Nashville's own. Everybody loves Mookie Betts. But they are actually kind of a likable team. As much as they are like a Death Star, best team money can buy, I kind of like them. Also, Toronto Blue Jays fans, I mean, that's as a fan, imagine like that loss.
That's a tough one.
That's an all-timer of a loss. So
I'd probably stop allowing Drake to come watch Game 7 in particular, sporting events in the city of Toronto. Doesn't have a good track record.
Yeah.
A lot of Leafs losses that have been sprinkled in there too. Game 7.
Yeah, well, and also Raptors, I
Yeah.
think, right? Although I guess he was there for them for their championship. So he has that going. I don't know how he's done with the Argonauts.
A lot to ask.
I think the Leafs probably are going to do what they do independent of him.
Probably
would be my guess. But I like blaming him.
It
I
was,
didn't even realize I didn't see him. They showed
he
him
was
it.
there. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It was amazing. So the Edmonton Oilers were playing on Saturday night. And I guess like they were, playing the game at home. And throughout the game, they just had the Blue Jays game up on the screen. Like it was just up on the Jumbotron. So there's this play where like Edmonton's got the puck behind the net and nothing's really happening. And the crowd just goes crazy. Like people are just, oh yeah. And the announcer's like, oh, the Blue Jays have won the World Series. The Blue Jays have won the World Series. Like, oh, wait a minute. They called him out. No, he didn't. He called him out. So everybody just kind of sits back down. And they interviewed McDavid about it after the game. He was like, yeah, it was really strange. Like we got the puck in the neutral zone and people were just breaking out in applause out there.
Actually said they won it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Said that they won it.
Ooh.
And then they, McDavid was talking about sitting on the bench and he just found himself looking up watching the Jays game. He's like, I'm glad they cut it off in the third period because it was very distracting out there. So good stuff.
That sounds like the most interesting stuff that's ever come out of Connor McDavid's mouth.
I would agree.
Thank you, baseball.
I would agree.
There you go.
It was a great series. Great series.
It was.
As somebody who really doesn't have a dog in the fight, I do suffer from Dodgers fatigue.
Yes.
I like some of their individual members of their team collectively. Dodgers fatigue is at a big time high right now.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. But congrats, Jimmy, and all you Dodgers fans. David in Arkansas says, I've never been so excited for college basketball after the dismal of my two teams I root for. I have more faith in the Hogs basketball team not to disappoint me as much. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Hogs going to be good, man.
Yeah,
still waiting on Cal to
say when your coach is going to call the Hogs.
Still waiting on Cal to call the Hogs, but
I guess I'm going to have to lean into college basketball a little bit more this year based on the other sports that are happening.
I'm telling you, Tennessee, you're gonna miss Zakai Ziegler and Jemai Mashak, but pretty good team Rick Barnes has. He's got a pretty good team. Vanderbilt here. I think Vanderbilt here is an NCAA team. So Vanderbilt women
they do play in the
have
NCAA?
Michaela Blakes. I mean, by the way, is that Paris tonight? Jay climbing on the call? Paris?
Yeah. 1:15 pregame.
1:15 pregame. They're playing
France, not
94-9.
Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah, Paris, France.
They're playing Cal, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Cal? Yeah. Michaela Blakes.
Just read it a few minutes ago. I'm glad you were listening to me. Good stuff.
Sorry. I was zoning out thinking about my rant. That wasn't a rant.
615
Marcasian
737-1025. Cory Curtis from News 2 will be with us coming up next. Titans fall to 1-8 on the season after the 27-20 loss to the Chargers yesterday. We'll get his thoughts on that, his thoughts on what he's seeing from Cam Ward and more. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. Talking some Titans. And to help us do that, we head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Cory Curtis from News 2, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. Cory, good morning. How are you?
I'm glad you can be optimistic this morning, Robert, because I know you had a horrible weekend from start to finish, and I'm glad you can still approach this segment with a sunshiny face.
It's called being a pro. That's just what I do. It's just what I am. Just a pro here today. That's what
Experienced pro.
Congratulations to your Bears for their big win yesterday, giving up 470 yards passing to Joe Flacco.
It was 457.
Oh, sorry.
It was people are like, aren't you happy that they won? I'm like, well, yeah, but I want them to be good more than I want them to win, and that's terrible, blowing that game, like they did. I mean, they're fortunate to grab it back, but giving up those 2 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes is awful.
Flacco's slinging it out there, man.
Only outdone by the Bengals' awfulness. So
good stuff out
there.
But
it was an appropriate matchup of the Bears aren't black, they're navy, but it looked like a lot of orange and black for Halloween.
It did.
By the way, Robby, why didn't you take the rant on LaFleur? You need that.
We
need
one
this week.
Yeah, we got plenty of time for that.
All right, good.
How about a rant on a couple of those passes by Jordan Love?
It'll be all right. I ain't worried about him.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Rex Ryan. Cue Rex Ryan.
I ain't worried about him. A team I am worried about, the Tennessee Titans, dropped to 1-8, Cory, after a 27-20 loss to the Chargers. Now, if you told me heading into the game that the Titans would score 20 points and that they would sack Justin Herbert 6 times, I'd probably feel okay about it, other than, those 20 points that they scored, 6 of them basically were a result from the offense. You got a special teams touchdown, a defensive touchdown of the game, and the offense did basically nothing throughout the game. So what's your big takeaway from that standpoint, watching the game play out the way that it did against the Chargers yesterday?
Well, they did things that we've been talking about them having to do for a couple of months now that, knowing where the offense was, we're like, look, the defense and the special teams have got to find a way to score. They just do. And they did. And that was great to see because, you look back at this game and it's not like 90% of their season. You say this is a game they actually had a chance to win. And I know there's a lot of frustration over play calling right now, and I understand. I do, but it's still not as big of an issue as an offensive line that couldn't get a yard. All right. Whether it was a direct snap to the running back or a handoff to the running back, they couldn't get a yard. They have 3 first-round picks on that offensive line. They have 700 pounds of linemen on the right side of it. They brought another offensive lineman in there to block as a lead back, and they couldn't get a yard. That's the bigger problem to me than whatever the play call was. The Eagles get a yard every time, so much so that everyone wants to illegalize the play that they used to do it. But it's basically just getting a stronger push than everybody else. And they couldn't get a push. And, if you get a push, no one's complaining about play calling. You got to be able to block. Now, the 3rd and 2 call, I hated. I don't know why you fake a handoff to your running back, from your running back to your quarterback. No one is believing that. That was unfortunate. But still, it comes down to execution at times. And, that's a bigger issue most of the time than play calling.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I did wonder, like watching it, like did Mike McCoy just think the Wildcat is like a new thing now in the NFL? It's like going back to his.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to give you an extra blocker most of the time. Running with your quarterback position is supposed to give you an extra blocker, and so I understand the idea behind it, but whatever. They didn't block it. I mean, it was blown up.
Cam Ward yesterday, some good, but 6 points for the offense, and there was the one notable wide open throw that he just somehow dirted to Van Jefferson. What would you call that? A step back day, idle day? What would you call it?
I mean, it wasn't a great day. Early on, Iomander's got a drop, and he threw that ball aside, and then hit Van Jefferson right in the hands. He's got to catch that one. Now the one down the middle, all I could think was he didn't have a firm grip on the ball, because it was
bad.
That was, he got like halfway there, and he's wide open for a huge gain. Those were 3 misses, and that's not good. Now, he also had the ball taken out of his hands in several key situations. And, like the 3rd and 2, when they decided to wildcat it and take the handoff to him. They did take the ball out of his hands in those situations, and that's tough. But I continue to not understand their utilization of the tight end position. Gunnar Helm had 1 target yesterday. Did Chigakonkwo have more than 2? They just didn't. But, the bigger problem is they don't run enough offensive plays. How many offensive plays do they run in the game? 40?
Yeah, it's bad.
In a league where you normally run 55, 60. So that's tough. So, again, you're looking for him to elevate, the offense. And he didn't. There were a few nice plays. But, there's nothing consistent enough. It's why they don't finish drives, because they're just not consistent enough. That the drive that ended at the 1 was one of their better drives of the entire season. They converted their only 3rd down of the game in that drive. They had no penalties on that drive, and they kept themselves on track, pretty much in that drive. But at the end, they just couldn't hit it with the exclamation point, and it was a big drive because they gave up a 99-yard drive afterwards. It was a huge 14-point swing. What was the score? Were they down 7, or would they have taken the lead when that one happened?
That's a good question. I need to go back and look at it. I can't remember the score.
I'm trying to erase this game from my memory, Corey. You're forcing me to try to remember.
No,
details.
So it was there. It was another play, and this has nothing to do with nothing, but it's just the difference between, like, we talk about a game of inches and how, like, things can change in a hurry. When it was 27-20 late in the game, Kevondre Sweat jumped up and tipped the ball and knocked it down, and I think forced a punt. Well, and that's a great play, but if he doesn't touch it, that ball hits Cody Barton right in the chest. Right in the chest for his 2nd interception of the game, and the Titans are really in business. It was, there's so many little areas where, things either A, you can just go your way, or B, you got to convert, and it can be a different outcome. I think that's the frustration for fans, as they saw a game they thought that they could actually win.
So, Corey, the trade deadline coming up tomorrow. What do you make of what we could see from the Titans? And you just brought up Sweat. Could he be a part of it? What do you make of, like, Sweat, where he currently stands in this organization right now?
Well, from what I hear from people I know, I think it's certainly a possibility. But he's got this is the same thing with the Jarvis Brownlee deal. You're not giving up a rental player. All right, you're giving up a guy with 2 years left on his contract. So why are you giving him away for anything less than a pick? Because otherwise, just have him on your roster until you have somebody else to replace him. That's my opinion, and then deal him and do pick swap him or whatever you want to do. But so I don't know what their price tag is, for him. But he's not. I would not say he's a premium need for most teams going into the playoff hunt. Most of them are looking for pass rush help, something along that lines. From that aspect, I think Draymond Jones is going to have the most appeal. And frankly, if I were the Titans right now, I think because they have so many holes and they need so many pass rushers because they're going to have to draft another one, I would consider re-signing him. He's got sacks in 4 straight games. He's proven to be a good player. Why not keep him? But he's the one guy that I would really look for on the defense that's got appeal. Obviously, Arden's been hurt, and Arden's very inconsistent anyway. So I don't know what you're gonna see from him. But the other one I'm looking for is the Packers just lost Tucker Kraft. Is Chigakonkwo a target for Green Bay?
You and Robby share a brain. He earlier in the show absolutely advocate. He wants him. Bring Chig to Green Bay.
Well, look, I think somebody's going to have Chig next year and understand what he does well, and they're going to throw him 100 passes in the season, and everybody in Nashville is going to go, "Gosh, why didn't he do that here?" Well, because he was never a priority here.
You really think he's that good? That's 100 passes is an elite tight end.
Well, I mean, he's caught 50 passes a year for the last 2 years. I mean, I didn't say he's going to have 100 receptions. I said 100 targets.
Sure. That's still still probably 80 catches, right? 75, 70?
65. Yeah, I would say 70, 75 probably.
This sounding better and better, Robby. Are you sold?
Sign me up. I'm here for it.
No, but I mean, look.
No, I mean that could work out.
I think there are people who understand he's not a great blocker. He's not.
Yep.
But he is really good with the ball in his hands. And I think someone will understand that and understand how to utilize him more and be really grateful. And if you're the Packers and look, the Super Bowl looks pretty up for grabs this year, last I saw. I mean, this was a wild weekend. The Packers lost, Lions lost, who else lost? I mean, it was just crazy. Chiefs lost.
Colts look turn into a pumpkin.
You know what? You turn the football over, you lose. The Raiders lost. Oh my gosh, that's a joke. Thanks for catching on that one.
I'm like, wait, what?
but yeah, I mean,
Lost
so
your
if
favorite
you're the
team.
Packers, you can't give up on this year. I mean, it's right there, and so I think they've got to address it with if there's somebody you can get to help you who's athletic and can score rather than just getting a guy. I think they should do it because they'll probably be able to do it for a pick swap.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what that looks like from the Titans because I'm with you. Like if you're the Titans, at some point, are you going to stop creating needs for yourself? Chig is nobody thinks Chig is like some great player out there, but he's not going to be all that expensive, I don't think. And there's just so many holes they've got, Cory, on this roster that at some point, stop creating more for yourself.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to draft somebody else, okay? And then are they going to be ready to play next year when you do?
Right.
Because, Helm and Martin Robinson are two young guys. So you're only going to get younger. It wouldn't hurt to re-sign a couple of guys who are, like you said, modestly priced and have shown some ability to make plays in this league.
Well, Cory, great stuff as always. Congratulations on the victory for your Chicago Bears. We'll see if they can keep things rolling here. Kind of a nerdy celebration by Ben Johnson in the locker room, but I'll let that slide this week.
It always is. It always is. It's painful.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will take painful celebrations over painful losses.
That's good.
So,
the Lions would like to have that nerd back in their building. I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. Look at the NFC North. I mean, the Lions are 5-3. The Bears are 5-3. The Packers are 5-2-1 because they gave up 40 to Dallas.
Yeah.
Nice.
Vikings going 4.
And I was going to say, and the Vikings are now right there at 4-4. That division, I mean, it is. It's a gauntlet. It and the AFC West are really, really tough minus the Las Vegas Raiders.
Cory, we will talk to you next week, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Good luck with the trade deadline.
Thank you. Cory Curtis.
Appreciate it.
Brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. We'll react to what Cory had to say. Titans fall to the Chargers 27-20. Your thoughts on that game as well. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Chase and Big Joe will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall today prior to the Monday Night Football game. Tonight's Monday night matchup, the Cardinals taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Taking your thoughts on the Titans' loss, 615-737-1025. Let's head to our phone line. Welcome in Trey to the program. Trey, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, buddy. Great.
Hey, I just want to say, in between listening to the game, because I like to listen to the game, and looking at it a little bit on TV, I want to say, man, that, to put up 6 points as far as an offense for 60 minutes of football is pretty pathetic. It's the bottom of the barrel. And it seemed like the special teams and defense gifted the offense 14 points. Like, how do you not score a touchdown in 60 minutes of football? And I've always said it, and I'll continue to say it, and I'm glad that y'all take my calls, and I'm glad the other shows take my calls, except for one. But Cam Ward is not the answer. I'm sorry, he is not the answer, and they need to do a better job in recruiting and signing players that's going to come in and do a job. That's all we ask. Do your job. That's it. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate it. I'm just glad Trey's watching some more of the games now.
Hey, he checked out a little bit.
He watched a little bit.
So wait, what show doesn't?
I don't know.
What show has banned Trey?
He didn't.
Do we know?
I don't know.
One of our shows. One of our shows?
I'm not sure.
We'll have to find out.
I know Next Man Up, Jake Lyman, they take his call all the time.
So it's either Chase, it's Big Joe. Feeling a little threatened?
Maybe Adam?
Joe? What's wrong?
Did Adam put the kibosh?
Vingan?
I don't know.
Not accepting calls?
That is not acceptable. Not accepting his calls is not acceptable for all the shows on this on all the programs on this station. So we're going to get down to the bottom of it. Yeah, I mean, 6 points is pretty bad.
Yeah, he's right. It is.
Like if we're being serious, though, and I understand Trey's been consistent here. Like, I don't know that Cam Ward isn't the answer. I don't we were never going to know that he is or isn't. Were we this year?
It had been very difficult. Now, it's not been good. Not been good. So did it automatically doom him to failure? No, but I mean, there's no doubt it hasn't been good. So.
Well, look, anybody there are Titans fans who are like, oh, you can see he's clearly not the problem. Everything's great with it. No, you're a little
crazy.
Yeah, that's just because you really want the number one pick to be the number one pick, and you want the Titans to finally have drafted a franchise quarterback successfully, which they have not done since Steve McNair.
Correct.
But I also, I'm not out on him.
No,
at all. I mean, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. I think he's got a chance to be a solid to good QB in this league. He has a chance to be a good quarterback in this league. He's not a move the earth and put a team on my back number one pick like you hope number one picks would be, number one overall picks would be. But you kind of knew that too, right? I mean, no one really thought he was. So
except maybe the Titans.
Yeah, maybe. But were they even like, well, he's not that, but we need a quarterback. I don't know.
If that's how they approached it, that's not good.
No, but I mean, if he turns out to be a good quarterback, then you can win if you do other things well, which we'll see if these guys can do any of that.
So back to the phone line. Welcome in George from the Borough to the program. George, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. It's difficult to watch Sam Darnold go out and play like an MVP, and like the Titans were just disinterested in him last offseason. Like, was he not good enough for the Titans? Because I remember PK, I think, come on this program and basically say, yeah, the Titans aren't going to go after Sam Darnold. They're not interested. Like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to unretire Warren Moon's jersey number for the best quarterback in a bad quarterback class. I mean, like, to follow up with Trey, 6 offensive points is just embarrassing. And I'm trying to think, like, how does this team stop being such a dumpster fire? And then, like this Chad Brinker guy, like, what was he doing when they drafted, like, Jarvis Brownlee or Tavondre Sweat or trading for Snead or hiring Callahan and then firing him. And then, like, are us fans, like, are we supposed to believe Chad Brinker is going to turn things around? I can tell you the answer is no. This team's got a hole at almost every position, and then they'll have to fix the whole coaching staff. I just personally don't see things magically getting better by the time the new stadium opens. And there's no way the owner, they planned on being this big of a dumpster fire in the league. They're the biggest dumpster fire in the league. There's no way they planned on being the biggest dumpster fire when they open the new stadium. Granted, there's still a little time, but this team is such a mess. But I still enjoy it. You know, they're 1-8, but that's all I've got, gentlemen.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
That was a record for saying dumpster fire in one call.
It's not wrong.
Not that it's an inappropriate word. I do agree. Look, on Sam Darnold, you're right. I mean, PK at one point was basically like, you could tell that was like, yeah,
they're not doing it
from inside. And I agree that it's a mistake. I believe said at the time. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's good. Did everybody know he was going to be this good with Seattle this year? I don't think so. And again, we'll see. They get to the playoffs. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll, turtle and it won't be good, but he's good.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. You could do a lot worse, and then you could have dealt with other things, but they didn't go that route.
They did not.
I think there's a couple things said there that I would push back on, though.
We will get to that going next. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans front as well. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Titans lose 27-20 yesterday to the Chargers. Let's head to our phone line. Welcome in Philip to the program. Philip, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. I got a couple of things here. So my first problem is offensive play calling. Once you see a play doesn't work one time, okay, 2 times, then you run into third and fourth time, that's an issue with coaching. I mean, the play calling, that's just terrible. Also, they need to get rid of that the flea flicker play. That play hasn't worked in a couple of games as well. And the wide receiver reverse that they keep running, it just doesn't get yards. You would think they would know that these plays are not working and not getting yards, but they keep continuously trying to run those plays. My next issue is with, I guess, the organization always saying that, like, they're trying to draft, retain, or whatever it is, develop, retain the players, but they've already traded away our 2 young corners. And if you're trying to develop players on offense, Gunnar Ham should be out there more. He only had 1 target for 1 catch, I think, yesterday. Didn't see him out there at all. You would want Cam Ward to actually be running these plays on 4th and inches or something like that to get him more experience in the red zone and stuff instead of doing wildcat plays. Like, how are you developing him if he's not really running more play? Like, I would want him to be out there on that 4th and inch play, put the ball in his hands, say, hey, this is the play. If you don't see it, run it in for a yard or something instead of saying we're going to run trick plays. That's not developing your quarterback, in my opinion. And the young receivers, DK has looked good in 2 games. If you're developing him, give him some more targets. I think they threw the ball to him twice, and one was on those stupid screenplays they keep running that's not working. And the other one was like a little route that he ran that went for like 5 yards maybe. Like, get them down the field, get them some targets, and you're drafting, developing, and retaining players that way. I'm not seeing what route they're going by when they say stuff, but they're doing completely opposite of what they're saying. And I'll hang up and listen to y'all opinion on that.
Thank you, Philip. Good call there. I think there's a lot of truth to what he was talking about there. You know, that was, to me, I said it earlier in the show, the disappointing part beyond the obvious of not scoring any points on offense yesterday was it felt like you broke through with DK on offense against the Colts. I mean, 7 for 93. And then you target him 3 times yesterday. He ends up with 1 catch for 5 yards. Like, got to do a better job of getting him more involved.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, on the draft, develop, retain, and then what we're saying on the field thing, like, they are still trying to win a game. I'm not saying they made good choices to win a game, but like, once you get into a game, you know, you're not calling things. Let's see this guy in this situation. It's not an exhibition game. You're trying to win a game, right? So, and also another problem here with all this stuff is, like Cory said earlier, they had 44 plays.
Yeah.
They had 44 plays. They had 206 yards of offense. They went 1 for 9 on 3rd down. They couldn't sustain anything. So they couldn't, there's so many things that they probably would have liked to do yesterday, but they're too bad to be able to get to the point of doing it.
Well,
and that's still, I thought yesterday was just another really bad day for the offensive line. It's a bad offensive line. Again, it's not the worst that we've seen. It's better than the last 2 years, but it's marginally better, and it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. And, they ran the ball, I guess, a little bit better yesterday when they weren't calling the wildcat plays. Pollard had 10 carries for 56 yards, so 5-6 a carry for him. But they're not very threatening at all running the football. And then you factor that in, just not very many plays in general. Some of that is them just not being able to sustain anything. And the other thing is, like, when your defense, you give up a 99-yard drive that took 10 minutes off the clock or whatever it was there. I mean, that's a long time where your offense is just not on the field.
Yeah, 10-minute difference in basically time of possession, 34-20 to 25-40. So just a lot of – so, I do – I generally agree, like, and this is where I would even, like someone earlier on the text line was like, well, why are you trading Ridley? You need him for Cam Ward. I would argue, again, if you can get a return, and I have no idea if they can, but if you can, well, this is draft, develop, retain prime time right here, which is Cam throwing to the rookies. Like he said, get Gunnar Helm more involved, make sure DK is involved and gets more than the small opportunities he got in this game, and just go forward with the young guys. Now, to the previous call, Robby, I just want, every once in a while, just throw in there the reality for the Titans in terms of like the dumpster fire never changing. Look, Brian Callahan, he'll be remembered as a bad coach, one of the worst coaches of franchise history. It was not a bad hire. I'm sorry, it was not a bad hire. Now maybe in the interview process they should have noticed something, but he probably was really good in the interview process because the guy's good talking to people, good with people. He turned out to be a bad head coach. They could absolutely hire a good coach. And if you hire a good coach in this cycle, and if Mike Borgonzi is good, then you can still get out of this mess. The league is designed for you to get out of this mess. I'm not saying they will for sure, but you're not eternally doomed. You just have to you got to end up making good. And frankly, you got to get lucky. And I would say with Callahan, to a point, you got unlucky.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, look, it's a league designed to recover quickly. We'll see how quickly they can able to do it. But if you get a good coach in here, number one, that probably means good things for your quarterback. I don't know who that coach is going to be. Like I've heard people say they should limit it to guys who have done the job before. And I understand the thinking behind that. I don't think you should limit it to anything in this thing. Like, I think it needs to be, especially when you fired the coach when you did, like when you fired Brian Callahan, there's earlier in the years you fired him, like you need to have a wide-ranging plan here of trying to nail down the best possible candidate for your job. And if that's a defensive guy, cool. Hire the defensive guy. If that's a guy who's been a head coach before, cool. If it's not, you know what? Cool. Just because the last one didn't work doesn't mean the next one can't. Like, don't limit yourself in the search for the next head coach.
Yeah, like when they hired Callahan, all we were talking about was this is the model that's working. This is the popular model that's working as much or more than anything else in the NFL, which is the successful offensive coordinator, whether play calling or not, to come in and be that play calling head coach. Didn't work out.
Well, by the way, just for some clarity on that, like George on the YouTube chat is saying Brian Callahan not being a bad hire is certainly a hot take. The point is it worked out poorly.
Oh,
the process involved to get to him was not flawed. Yeah,
exactly.
Your point.
Yeah, like George, argue with me on it. Again, let's go back and look everything we said, everything Callahan said at the time, his press conference, everything the entire league said at the time was, "Oh, great job, Titans. Oh, you beat out some teams for Brian Callahan." Like, I'm sorry. He turned out to not be a good head coach. Also, we are looking at Mike Vrabel, who is 7-2 and has a shot to be NFL Coach of the Year for the second time in his career. And he went 6-18 in his last 24 games with this freaking dumpster fire. Let me use dumpster fire again. We haven't used it enough on this. So I think the Titans are in position to make coaches look pretty bad at this point. I'm not flipping around and saying you guys screwed up. Brian Callahan was good. He wasn't, but you gotta take everything into account.
Lenny says, well, when we get a new coach, a new quarterback, and a good supporting cast, we should be fine. It's from Lenny on the text line.
There you go.
You land all those things, should be in good shape out there if you're the Titans. We'll see what happens.
Not necessarily the new quarterback, Lenny.
Yeah,
we'll see. It'll be a bit. He's going to get time. He's going to get his chance to, and hopefully the Titans will actually give him a chance.
Yeah, like the offensive line, I know people are sick of talking about it because it's been so bad around here for so long. But again, you watch them play now, and I'm with you. Like, they're not completely horrible, like snap to snap, like they've been for the last couple of years. But it's still, I mean, yesterday not a very good day for the Mandor. Every now and then Latham still have some reps that just don't go well, and it's like, man, like, what is he at right tackle moving forward? Like, because if he doesn't work out at right tackle, I mean, how devastating is that to what you're trying to build moving forward here? If you get another year down the road and you're again having to go draft another right tackle and a left tackle at that point, just not good.
Yeah,
Steelers. Did you see Bowers yesterday?
Steelers sure did. He looked pretty good.
He looked pretty good. Yes, Jared from Spring Hill. Cue him. He already said it earlier on the text line. But Steelers fans, I must say, tip of the cap to you. All of you who said, "Oh, thank you for taking Dan Moore off our hands." Yeah.
They've been okay without him.
They have. Yeah, they have been. Texter says, let's talk about how this new GM absolutely did well in this draft. I think based off the picks this year, if we have something to look forward to on that front. Yes, except obviously the verdict out on Ward. And then the second round. I mean, the top two picks of the draft right now are very much up in the air. One of them, I would say, he's hurt, injury, but like it doesn't look great as a second round pick. the 4th-round picks look good.
4th-round picks look good. That's good.
No doubt about that.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, Winston, we'll see as he becomes more involved in the defense. And all those
I'm
things.
optimistic about him. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean,
We'll
really,
see.
it's going to come down. Like if your 4th-round picks are really good, but your 1st and 2nd-round picks don't end up being any good, it's not a good draft there. So we'll see what happens on that front. Oladejo's been hurt. And Ward, I think he's in such a bad spot right now that he individually is looking bad on some plays, and he's just getting almost zero help out there. And maybe I'm overblowing this play too much from yesterday, but to me, I couldn't help but think, oh boy, here they go again. When on like the first play of the game, Ward escapes, rolls to the right, gets around Khalil Mack, fires a bullet to Io Manor, and he just drops it right off the bat. I'm like, God, here we go. I mean, they can't get anything going from the jump offensively.
Yeah. All right, Texter. This could end up being like a new Callahan thing Tannehill thing for me. Says, so you're saying the Titans did everything right when hiring Callahan? I mean, like, guys, this is a second guess. A coach can prove to be bad.
Do you guys think that every coach that doesn't work out is just like automatically the team screwed up in hiring them?
Like you think like his interview was like Step Brothers, where he was like ripping farts like in the interview and the tuxedo
sometimes
on? I mean, like, come on.
Sometimes
guys.
it just doesn't work. Like sometimes the process is right, the resume's good, and they're just not a good head coach.
He was going to get an NFL head coaching job, 100%. He was going to get one. It didn't work out here. And you find out about people when they get these opportunities, especially like the ones who haven't been head coaches. That's part of the risk. But yeah, I can't sit here and say they did anything wrong.
The one thing I would say about the process of it, and this is as much on Callahan, but I mean, I guess you could blame this on the Titans brass too for allowing it to happen. Like when you're going through the process with Callahan, is like, all right, so what are you doing for your staff? And he comes back with, well, I'm hiring a first-time offensive coordinator and a first-time defensive coordinator to go along with me. Probably at that point, somebody said, I don't know if that's a great idea, Brian. Let's not do that.
And the offensive coordinator, my dad used to take us to the movies.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
We saw Forrest Gump. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Take more of your thoughts on the Titans. One more segment coming up next. Rapid fire. Titans lose. Vandy loses. The Vols lose. Pretty bad weekend of local football around here. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Not a good weekend for the local football teams around here. Vanderbilt loses at Texas. Vols are basically eliminated from the playoff after a loss at Oklahoma or against Oklahoma. Titans do what they do and lose football games. So there is that.
So it's the first week of November.
Yep.
And those three teams have been teams in this state for more than 25 years. And I'm assuming this is the first time you can say, as of November, one of those three teams still has hope, and it is Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I would say that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Probably the first time that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, Tennessee just turning the ball over the way they did in the first half after a half that you dominated. You lose that game. I mean, Vanderbilt, they got blitzed by Texas early in the game. We read off the stat earlier. I need to go find the stats for the whole game, but 200 yards passing for Arch Manning at the half, 185 after the catch, 185 yak
Incredible
for Texas in the first half.
I mean, the tackling was so bad. It was so bad for Vanderbilt. It looked, for a little while again, everybody wants to immediately revert to this. I know I have a Vanderbilt friend who said, he had like a text thread where everybody's like, oh, it's just the old Vanderbilt again. It's like, calm down. But it looked bad. It looked like a team that with a lot more talent taking it to a team with a lot less talent. To Pavia's credit, I thought Pavia actually played well in this game, but he probably also fell out of the Heisman race. I mean, you lose another game like that, and you have to win those games and be great in those games to have a chance. But he was fine. I mean, he ended up with huge numbers because they came back. They also, they are so close to getting that onside kick. Boy, they should have had it. And what a shocker that would have been. But the defense is, against teams with like a lot of talent. And teams that I think it was a great plan of attack by Texas. Let's put it on the perimeter and see if these guys can tackle our receivers, Wingo and those guys. They're still going to be at a pretty big disadvantage. You can see that Saturday.
Yeah. And now what does it mean for them moving forward? You got Auburn coming up, who has just fired their coach. So Hugh Freeze is out at Auburn. By the way, we'll get into this, I'm sure, later this week. There are so many jobs that are open or going to be open in college football. And there's really not that many good coaches. Like, I'm very interested to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, well, what there are, maybe, what there will be is a little bit more looking at the group of five level, which is some of the best success stories in recent years have been from there. Obviously John Summerall from Tulane, but there are candidates who could be good coaches, but as far as established top of it's everybody's going after Lane. Franklin will get something.
What if Lane doesn't go? Like, what is LSU Florida going to do?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They're going to get up with a good coach.
I think one of them will probably. Well, see, Florida's not going to do they're not going to do the Group 5 thing because Napier didn't work out, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say one of them is probably going to go get John Summerall, but then is Kentucky going to get into the mix here? So right now we're at 185 million in buyouts.
Yeah.
When you combine all the coaches fired, we're going to blow past 200 million, but Kentucky could open up too.
Yeah, I think he will. Although,
and
if
then
you're them,
but they to me, they open up because they think they're going to get Summerall.
Yeah. Like, couldn't you make the case if you're a Kentucky, and I know Kentucky fans do not want to hear this, and I understand why, but couldn't you make your case if you're Kentucky to maybe hold on another year for a year where it's less just, the job market is flooded right now for coaches in college football. And where does the Kentucky job rank on that?
You can make that case, but what's the ledger looking like in the next year? Fans, donors. When you have a lame duck coach now, I think that's why we see all this, because it's like, how can you justify that? You're just going to dry up and it's going to get worse.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We got Monday Night Football tonight, Cardinals and the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. And then it's a week off for the Titans. Week off on the football front. They do not play. They do have the trade deadline coming up tomorrow. So who could be on the move? We're going to spend a lot of tomorrow's show, I'm sure, discussing who could be on the move for the Tennessee Titans.
Will we have at least one Titans player in a different place by the time we start our show tomorrow?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes, we will. Chig Okonkwo.
Arden Key.
Okay.
Chig to the Packers?
Chig to the Packers.
Okay. You're wishing that into existence.
That does it for us today on the program. Next Man Up is coming up next. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their Monday. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.